time like the president.
No,
Or wait.
no time like the president, buddy. Number 45. Yee yee.
I'm an idiot.
Ain't no time like the president, brother.
You got me. I slipped up. I slipped up first.
Well, I guess it's better to slip up in the beginning than it is halfway through.
Halfway through, we don't know what's going on, and you've already led them astray for a whole half hour.
That's very true. Whole half hour. And they're like, what's going on here? And then, you slip up and...
Sound like a rambling idiot.
Yeah, that's exactly how it goes every time. And, I don't make the rules, but I don't know if I would appreciate someone slipping up halfway through. Like, it's one of those things that, like, I'll be listening to a podcast or, like, just, like, someone talk or, like, just a video, and they'll, like, slip up and they'll, like, mispronounce, like, some word or whatever.
When they say Pacific instead of specific.
Yeah, and I'm like...
I'm being very Pacific. No, you're
like,
not.
are you an adult? Do you know how to talk, buddy? Because you should be embarrassed.
Well, that's my next T-shirt idea. No time like the president.
No time like the president. I think that'd be a good one. I'd wear it.
Just a little mirror on it, so you go, oh well, I'm the president.
Hey, that's me. I'm the president, guys. Well, with that being said, welcome to a special episode of the Bruise and Bros podcast.
What number is it though? I know you keep track of the numbers.
Funny enough, it's actually number 13.
He said, "I know this off the top of the dome piece."
Well, no, because I was thinking about because I was listening to the last episode like 3 days ago, just to try to figure some stuff out, and I was like, "Wow, that's true. I really do label them."
That's your thing. You said episode.
And so yeah, I'm pretty sure this is 13, but it's special because what is it? It's Saturday, right? My days are all messed up because of this whole thing.
Today's Thursday.
Yeah, so it's but that's what I'm saying. Like your birthday's on Saturday though, right?
Sunday.
Oh, Sunday. Okay, yeah. Like I said, my days are all just messed up. So
it's like the Super Bowl.
It is like the Super Bowl.
It's gonna be on a Sunday. There's gonna be no tailgating. I'm just gonna go get a tattoo.
No tailgating, tattoos, and just a whole lot of relaxing.
Maybe some rum later on in the evening hours.
That's ballsy.
I'm gonna get the tattoo, and then when it's all wrapped up and it's like healing, I'm gonna pop some pain pills. I'm gonna drink some Jack. I'm gonna turn the Xbox on,
and then just die. Die because you're mixing painkillers with alcohol.
No. They only die because they don't do it the right way.
Oh, they're not safe about it. They said no.
Snort it.
Oh my god. Oh no. Oh no. Everyone's gonna be like, dude, what are you doing? But yeah.
I'll put it backwards. I'll put the pain pills in the cup and I'll snort the Jack.
I'll drink the pills and I'll snort the Jack.
If nothing says I can't do that.
That's true. I guess you could just boil the pills.
As long as I'm not drinking and taking the pills, I guess. So if just hook it up to an IV.
That's true. The IV is full of Jack, and you just put the pills in the IV bag, let them dissolve that way. Slowly but surely, you'll get your painkiller and everything else.
I'll walk around with that. What's that thing called? That they hold the IV on?
Oh, I don't know what the hell that thing's called. I'm not a doctor.
I use that as my walking stick.
They do in the hospital. They do in the hospitals.
Yeah, but in the hospitals they charge you just to roll you out. Like when you're already done, they're like, by the way, since you couldn't walk to the door and we wheelchaired you, that's an extra $250.
Exactly.
But I didn't ask you to do that. Well,
taxpayer dollars, buddy.
I saw this thing because I was looking at these because on my job we kind of look over medical bills, and sometimes they'll charge you for like the swabs that they use. And so you'll see like a 5-cent charge, and you'll have to go over it with them and be like, yeah, so you charged this for this, this was this, and you're like, you charge them to use a Q-tip?
You got your extra long Q-tip on deck, and that nickel.
See how many Q-tips you get for that nickel? Now I know you're upcharged.
Yeah, for real.
You're not charging labor here. You're just saying, oh,
you're just an asshole.
Bunch of scumbags.
But yeah, that's kind of funny. It's always like it's like that meme that was like really super popular when we were in high school. Where it's like how to eat ramen like a man. And it's just like you just eat the dry noodles and you snort the powder and then you just drink boiling. You just drink boiled water. Oh
I
man,
tried drinking that boiled water in that Fallout game, and all it does is just
it does its job. It does its
it gets the
job.
guy to radiations.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know what a Fallout is IRL, but it's nuclear.
nuclear waste.
So now imagine that you're living in a nuclear wasteland, and what you have to drink some boiled water.
Some boiled irradiated water.
You're gonna think it's healthy, but nope, it's just
No,
you're just getting radiated.
it's not.
Your hair's falling out, but you're hydrated.
I don't feel very good, but man, I gotta pee.
It's glowing.
Dude, that's so funny enough. I've had that before.
Glowing pee?
No.
Oh.
Or like, but like it is like extra bright because like like you'll just drink like nothing but like I'm trying to. I think it was sometime when I was in the military. I think I had gone like a weekend where I uh I wasn't really doing anything and I was kind of bad at drinking water in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
but I had a couple of energy drinks.
Oh no. Were
And
you in the
so
desert at this time?
no, like I mean I was stationed in the desert, yeah, but like I was just
No.
like in my room or whatever,
Okay.
and so I went to go to the bathroom, and all of a sudden it's like dude, it was like highlighter yellow almost, and I said, "What the hell?" And then actually, funny enough, I've had it happen to me where I've taken vitamins to like workout supplements, and those have changed the color of my pee to like this like weird highlighter yellow. Just it didn't matter how much water I drank; it was always yellow when I was taking those pills, and I was like, that's probably not healthy. Like,
No, do that. Like, there are the things where like the pee comes out orange.
I think if it's orange, that might be blood.
No. Hold on now. I'm gonna look this up because like there's a medicine um, that makes your pee orange. Like it's the first thing you type in makes your pee. It's the maximum strength, fast relief for urinary discomfort. Medications rifapim, an antibiotic used to treat tuberculosis.
What the hell?
Well,
Not only do you have TB, but you're gonna have orange pee.
I thought it was more for like a kidney stone kind of thing, but I know that I knew it was something that it comes out orange, and it's just
Yeah, it's
like,
kind of weird, but
well, it's weird when you're working at a Chuck E. Cheese and you're going to clean the bathrooms and you see orange piss in the toilet.
dude, that's that. There's two things: A, they're taking that medicine, or B, they're an alcoholic.
That's more of a brown, but
I mean, it's more of a brown, but
well, to be fair, the Browns logo is more orange to me than in the NFL, so
that's very true. That's very true,
they're really
and it's
related.
just, I mean, probably, honestly,
A dark brown, or I'm sorry, a dark orange. You mean brown? Yeah.
dark something. There's some dark color, but yeah, and it's so weird that like you're just like I get why your internal bodily functions turn a different color when you
Mm-hmm.
ingest certain things. Like it just does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But like I remember in middle school, this kid that I was friends with was telling me he was like, yeah, my brother drank nothing but like red Gatorade for like a week, so his shit was just this like disgusting blood red color, and I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, dude, he thought it was hilarious. He's just laughing his ass off the whole time he was telling me the story, and I was like, that's gross, dude.
I had when I ate a bag of the hot Ruffles, like the Buffalo. I ate the whole bag, and I was like, oh. Or they got that blue Hawaiian punch. Same thing, not red but blue. He just chugging it, minding your own business, and then you're gonna go home, use the bathroom. You look and be like, what the hell happened? Like a little Debbie cake.
Aliens are coming, dude. You're thinking that you're like possessed or something.
Oh my gosh! So like, because when you're sick, it could be the green or the regular brown, depending. But
Mm-hmm.
like, depending on what you eat, it's just crazy. Because like, I'm sorry we're talking about shit. I know it's not like the most amazing thing in the world, but there's like that whole thing where like the crap itself will be orange, but the area around it will not be orange.
Yeah.
Like the waters, it starts.
It's like a tea bag.
Yeah, it's like holding the not flavor, the color packet. So when you get in, it just like a bath bomb. Hey, did you waffle stomp again? How'd you know? The fucking tub is blue, you piece of shit. Why couldn't you just use the bathroom? I was already in the shower.
Dude, so I remember I think it was on my second deployment. So they had these like shower tents,
Oh no.
and in the shower tents, like they're kind of rough. It's almost like kind of like showering like in a locker room, but
Mm-hmm.
it's an actual like tent almost
Mm-hmm.
that they hook up to like these huge tubs of water
Mm-hmm.
that sit behind it and everything. And dude, let me tell you, it's just like man, it was such a weird experience
Mm-hmm.
because like they had these like shower trailers that were a little bit better because they were a little bit more private.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the tents themselves, they were just open, so they had like the sink and stuff like at the front of the at the front and at the back, and then they had like a centerpiece that ran through, and in between the or along those centerpieces, that's where the showers were. But there were no dividers or anything,
Uh-huh.
so like you'd be like showering, like talking next to your buddy or whatever, and but
Eyes
like.
up here, bud.
But like sometimes they get really gross and like they'd have like a drainage issue,
Oh.
and so they would just like fill up with water. Well, one time I'm sitting at work, someone in my shop comes through and they said, you know what, that's it, I am never using the fucking shower tents again. And I was like, why, what's up? And they said, motherfucker, I swear to God, I went to go take a shower last night and there's a goddamn turd just fucking sitting right next to the fucking drain. And so up until this point, believe it or not, I had never in my life heard the term waffle stomp ever. I'd never heard of it, and it was so wild to me, and I thought it was the funniest thing on the planet because I was like, "What the fuck is a waffle stomp?" And my buddy Remy goes, "Are you stupid?" He's like, "It's where you take a piece of shit and you smash it through the grate, but since the grate is square holes, the shit would look like a waffle, and it's the term waffle stomp." And but like him explaining it, because he was like he always sounded like he was super angry, and since he sounded like super angry as he was trying to explain it to me, I thought it was even funnier because I'm like, dude, it's just why you getting mad about stomping shit down the drain?
You sound like that guy explaining to Smalls what a s'more was. You take your grain.
But yeah, dude, and it was for me, it was one of the funnier things because ever since that moment, like we were probably maybe like 3/4 or so of the way like through the deployment, so we were probably only there for a couple more months. But I remember being like super paranoid. Like I'd go back there like with my phone and I'd like turn on the flashlight just to like check, just be like, yo, there ain't no shit in here. I think I'm safe. And I mean, you're wearing you're wearing like flip flops or like slip on sandals or whatever.
But that chance,
but there's just
the waves.
even then, it's like, dude, I'm despite wearing shower shoes, like I'm not trying to step in human shit. Like it's one thing to step in dog shit because you're like, oh, dude, that's dog shit, man. All right, whatever. I'll just leave my shoes outside and I'll wash them off and I'm done.
The idea of just some other person's excrement just chilling.
I think I would burn the pair of shoes if I stepped in human shit. I'd be like, there's no point in having these shoes anymore. Those will always be covered in fucking disease. For the rest of the time that I own these shoes, it's just disease.
I used to have an old roommate back when in the day. Speaking of burning stuff, and he had intercourse with this lady on my mattress at the time. But the lady was on her period.
Oh no.
So we all took my mattress out to the dumpster. But before we got to the dumpster, we lit it on fire. And we're just sitting there in the parking lot watching it burn.
Yeah, I've never lit. I don't think I've ever lit a mattress on fire, but on my first deployment, we actually lit a bunch of these like super old blankets on fire.
Oh no!
That we just found or ended up gonna stay. But there's just like it was crazy. It was the world's biggest pile of just blankets that were like covered in dust and bird shit and just.
What were they doing there? Were they just
I
like,
have
here?
no idea.
Bring these for the Marines. Trying to give you smallpox.
Something, but like, so we took them. There was this huge pit out like right outside of where we were staying. And
Mm-hmm.
it was like just this big old hole that had already existed, and you could kind of tell that there was some trash in there, but you wouldn't really know what they were doing back there. Well, so that's what we started to like use as our burn pit for like all of our trash and stuff. And so we get all of these blankets into the back of this truck, and we're just sitting there, and there's like already like it's like it was kind of smoldering from the day before.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, all right. So we start tossing these blankets on it, just not
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it, because we're like, oh, we'll just toss all these blankets on it. Well, all of a sudden they just like immediately just go up in this huge ball of just dust and bird shit smoke. And the guy in the back of the truck's like, "Motherfucker, let's go! Like, we gotta get the fuck out of here!" But because all of the smoke's like coming in through the back of the truck, and he's just getting fucking smoked out back there. And dude, that was some of the like, it was gross, dude. Like trying to like even just like moving the blankets, like having nothing to do with like just the act of moving them was so gross because it was like I don't know where the fuck these blankets have been,
They
dude.
could have the smallpox,
They could have whatever, dude.
malaria.
Yeah, dude, for real. They could just be these diseased things. And I was like, bro, I was like, if I die out here, I'm dying, bro. I was like, there's no way.
Well, what this got me thinking about is because you said that there was like a pit back there, right?
Yeah.
Didn't you like tell some kid to throw his bike down a pit?
So that was when I was living in Flagstaff. We had one of those like big ol' like rain water drains. So the apartment complex that I lived at was like it was all on a hill. Well, so the storm drain was at one of the other apartment complexes that was probably maybe half a mile up the road. And so those tunnels literally went from that apartment complex all the way down underneath ours into this like huge drainage. Like it almost looked like it was just like a giant hole,
right?
More or less. But it's like just where all the excess rainwater would go, and depending on how much it rains during the summer,
Like you go down there and get out and everything, right?
yeah. And so like you'd be able to like it would freeze over in the wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of thing. And but it was never like super deep or anything. I think probably the deepest that it maybe would have gotten was maybe a couple of feet, but nothing like so crazy that like you would like it like had you been down there while the water was coming down, like you probably would have been swept away and you would have been fucked. But now that I kind of think about it, those drains were huge. They were probably 10 feet in diameter. It was for some reason they were extra huge. And so
Arizona got to save all the water they can.
something. And so funny enough, so I'm trying to think. There's probably about maybe a foot of concrete, and then it was the 10-foot tunnel, and then there's probably about 2 feet of concrete on top of that, plus like the 3 or 4 feet of dirt where the apartment complex had been built on. And so me and my friends were out there doing whatever it was, and then there was this kid who also lived in the apartment complex, and he wasn't like he was just kind of like a weird dude. And I think that's because he was like in that weird age group where he was like a full year older than us, but there weren't really any other kids who lived at the apartment complex who were like straight up his age. So
Kind
it
of
was
like when you're a freshman in high school and all the other people around you are in 8th grade still.
yeah,
You're like,
and it's like it's kind of weird where it's like and it's just that just not knowing, like just kind of being lonely. So like sometimes he would hang out with us, sometimes we would hang out with him. But in the grand scheme of things, he was kind of for lack of a better term, he was kind of a turd. like,
full circle.
like straight up, like he really was.
He was a waffle stomp,
dude. Like he was like I remember like he would always like anytime that we would like kind of hang around with him, like he would always like try to like quote unquote bully one of us, and he like always would like try to like talk shit or just whatever. And so I never really liked him very much. And so we're sitting there, and me and my friend are down at the bottom. So we're in the little area where the drainage pipes are, because it like vectored off into like it was like probably like a 45-degree angle on either side, so that way the water could disperse easier and it wouldn't flood right away. So we're just sitting down there. We have our bikes, but we're trying to build this. What kids do. We're out there trying to build this fort like in the drainage area. Like so we're like gathering these like super huge sticks. And so I had always kind of wondered what would happen to someone's bike if you dropped it off from the top. So like my buddy who I was with, he was gonna do it, but then he's like, no, dude, like I can't mess my bike up, like I'll get in trouble. And I said, yeah, no, I'm the same way. Especially because both of us were kind of like on the lower income side of the economy.
A
And
poor.
but this other kid, he was like, I think that's also part of why his attitude was the way it was, is that he kind of did get everything he wanted. And so he rolls up and he's like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, so we tell him or whatever. And he goes, well, blah, blah, blah. And somehow, I don't remember the exact details of the conversation anymore, but somehow, some way, both of us ended up convincing him that we're like, no, like we both just tried it. I think is what it was. Is like we both just tried it, and like my buddy was like, yeah, my bike kind of like, went boop boop and just like fell into the wall, and I was like, yeah, mine bounced a couple of times and then just fell over. Like nothing happens to him. Well, so he does it, and he goes right in between the little grate, and it lands right on the front tire. Well, it warps the tire, like straight up just bends the shit out of his front tire. And so he starts freaking out, obviously. We start freaking out because obviously neither of us dropped our bikes off.
Your parents are going to come be like, well, let's test this thing.
Well, and so it was so bananas because he got, I mean, rightfully so, like he did get mad. Like I think had that happened to me, like I probably, I probably would have been pretty mad, to say the least. Well,
but if you were farther away and he like rode his bike to you like a few miles, and you're like, "Well, sorry," and you just ride your.
Well, and that, so there's that aspect of it too, where it's like, dude, you live like right there, like we can see your house from here. So
get on the pegs.
Like, dude, like it sucks, but it's not like you're not going to get on their bike, or like it's not like you can't just go get another tire. But whatever, I mean, we're kids, so like those aren't really things that are on our mind.
You're
not
in
like
the logical mood. You're like,
and dude, he was freaking out to the point where I can't remember if it was that time or some other time, but him and I actually ended up getting into like an actual fist fight,
an altercation,
like an actual fist fight. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think it was that time.
How old were you?
I was probably 7, maybe 8.
You were square.
And so he's probably 8 or 9, give or take. Depending on how old I was.
Did you waffle stomp him?
Dude, no. So funny enough, so we were kind of like going at it. It's a kid fight, so nothing's really happening.
He's just going.
Well, at some point, he kind of got away from me, and he went to go like kick up in the air, and he just whapped right in my stomach, just knocked the wind out of me. So as a kid, you're debilitated, and so I'm just like, ugh, just dying on the ground, and.
He said, "It's right panty night, babe."
Dude, and then but what's funny is as soon as he kicked me in the stomach and knocked the wind out of me, he literally went and just booked it, dude. Just straight up ran back to his house.
He didn't mean to hit you that hard.
So I have no idea, dude. It was such a strange it was such a strange
being
thing. Yeah, and just like and like I said, being a kid and that happening. That sounds like something that like you'd be like, oh no, yeah, that definitely happens to kids. Like I could see kids fighting over a broken bike.
Kicked you in the stomach and ran off.
Dude, literally, that's exactly what he did. And then
he left you to die.
I don't think I saw that kid, honest to God, for like months after that.
Probably looking out his window, make sure you weren't out.
Literally didn't see that kid for months. Like he would never come around and hang out with us. Obviously because he was, older than us, and so I would never see him at school or anything like that. And, I mean, Flagstaff is a pretty small town, so it's not like there's a whole lot of places that this dude could have gone and hid. It's not like I was looking for him or anything, but...
It's not like he had a car
yeah,
or a bike.
Yeah, and it's like, so it was one of those really weird things where it's like...
He probably just stayed inside and played the PlayStation. You're like, huh? Why didn't your other friend step in? He just let you get kicked.
Like I said, really looking back at it,
where was Chris?
And all of the details of what had happened, I think my buddy was kind of just like more so as a kid, just kind of enthralled at the fact that this dude was so mad that he was gonna beat somebody up over a bike, and so he was probably just like I said, I have no idea. I can't to this day remember exactly what happens.
He thought he had front row tickets to WrestleMania.
Something, dude. He probably thought that he's like, dude, this is badass.
Yeah. Oh, he really can't. Oh, hey, whoa,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then and so, but yeah, to this day, I have no idea. No idea what happened to that kid. Because, I mean, obviously, we ended up moving away anyway. But I had no idea what happened to that kid. No idea.
Let's find him on Facebook, and then, like, when you're talking to him, I'll sneak up behind him, and I'll go, raw, he'll turn around, and I'll kick him in the stomach.
I'm almost wondering if I could maybe
pull up, like, find his teeth or whatever, his dental records, and be like,
no,
hey,
it's just like because I don't remember his last name. I want to say his name was Tyler, like something kind of weird anyway. But I think maybe there might be some kind of way to find out who it was and be like, oh hey, like do you remember that you and I like got into a fight when we were like in the 4th grade? And
no, your bike, you threw it down a hole.
he's like, that traumatized me for years.
He-
I haven't been able to ride a bike.
He has a Vespa now.
Well, and it's like, what's even funnier is I think my buddy, so the moment he dropped his bike off of the thing and his bike landed, he goes, oh my god, what the heck? Like, how was I supposed to get my bike down? And my buddy's like, we just took him down the hill. Like, we literally just walked him down here, dude. Like, we do that all the time. Like, no one, like, you didn't have to drop it off. It's like, we didn't force you to.
That reminds me when I was a kid, though. Something similar. I was like, I was acting tough.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I was telling these kids, like, hey, man. What's the word for it? I was just telling them, I was like, yo, you better quit, being stupid. Because they're being really annoying kids, right? And then the one kid says, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I'll tell on you. Because, that's what you do when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, this kid spins, like, in a circle. And he, like, straight legs me right in the stomach. I remember I took it like a champ. I went like this. I went, and I looked up, and I went, that's it.
Gotta tell on you.
I'm telling. And this kid, his face, he was so scared. And so he runs out the room, and then I start crying. I held the tears in just long enough for him to not, like, know that I was the one in pain. But, as a kid, that's the biggest thing you got.
Yeah.
Is, I'm gonna tell.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell on you, or you go, ooh, you're in trouble.
Usually they don't kick you after you tell them. Like,
it's like no, please no. Like it's like when like like you get hit by a sibling or something. Or, you hit your younger sibling and you're like no, like don't tell mom, like you can hit me, you can hit me.
This kid spun and kicked me in the stomach straight like he went.
Dude, kids are just weird, dude. Like I remember, I think it was probably like 7th grade. So obviously you're not like a kid. You're like 13, maybe 14. Well, I can't remember who it was, but we were in like I think we were in our science class, and I think it was like kind of near the end of the school year, so there wasn't really anything for us that they had us be doing anyway. And something happened to one of the kids in the class, and his glasses got knocked off.
Oh no!
And you ever seen those videos of those dudes who windmill in mosh pits?
Yeah.
Well, so this kid who got his glasses knocked off did that, but he was like almost like hunched over at like a 90-degree angle, just spinning his arms, dude. And he like hit the kid like 3 or 4 times, and picked his glasses up and like walked off or whatever. And the one kid's like, dude, what the fuck? And I'm standing there and I was like, what the hell did I just watch?
Dude,
it was so strange.
What do you say? Do you know all the curse words?
I was like, so do you guys know curse words? Which cuss words do you guys know? We go to public school. We know all of them.
Oh no!
It's like okay.
The youth, man, they're all crazy. When I was a kid, like I said, I got kicked in the stomach, but it wasn't like as bad. I mean, the fights I saw at my school were pretty cool. It was usually like someone would throw rocks at somebody else, and then that kid would say, "Don't throw rocks at me again." So the kid would throw rocks at him again, and then the kid would jump off the jungle gym, and the one kid would start booking it.
I vaguely remember this. So when I had first moved to Mesa, we were there for however long, and then obviously, we get enrolled into the school,
Hmm.
and so I'm sitting there, and I think I was in the fourth grade. Like I had to finish like the second half of fourth grade
Uh-huh.
when we had moved down there, and so obviously being the new kid, just you kind of just try to mind your own business,
Hmm.
really, and just do whatever new kids do, and and so I remember we were like in the bathroom or something. Like I can't remember if it was like a lunch break or whatever it was.
Mm.
I can't quite remember. And well, one of the kids that was in, I think it was in my class, was like kind of, trying to act a fool and
Oh,
act tough.
yeah.
Well, and so funny enough, I think it's the only time in my life that after being the new kid, someone had kind of stuck up for me. Then this kid, dude, who I ended up becoming best friends with, um, was like, "Hey man, shut up," and fucking pantsed this kid in the bathroom, dude. And that kid said, "Dude, what the hell?" And just put his pants on back and just left. And he goes, "Hey man, sorry about that. Like normally everybody here is pretty nice." Like it was almost kind of like being in a TV show.
Like this doesn't happen in real
Well, yeah, I was
life.
like, "There's no way this is
He
real."
comes up and just beats up the bully.
Yeah, dude, it was so strange, but I just remember him always be like that was his proudest moment of our friendship. He was like, "Dude, I just remember pantsing that kid after he was trying to mess with you, dude. Like, bro, I always got your back, dude." And I was like, "There's no way. Like, this is a movie, dude."
I'm quick with the reaction time. Sometimes, example being, you were in the PE class with me. I got pantsed by Tony Plebani. Um, now, this is how fast I was. Because this is the day I'm just like, bro, I'm free balling. I'm not wearing undies in my gym shorts.
Yeah.
Hell no. And then I'm standing up at the door, and then he go, and so what I do instinctively, I just drop on my ass and grab the front, and I go, whoop. And Tony's like, how'd you do that? I'm like, yeah, man, you know me. Not trying to let nobody see my twig and berries in the gym class.
What was that kid's name? Max something?
Oh, the one who was walking around just
in the locker room and for the swim part of PE.
he was just naked, just walking
just
back and
walking around,
forth.
just talking to people. And it's like, bro, he's definitely gonna be that old guy who Captain Morgan's it up on the bench in that locker room. And
The
he's like,
guy,
"Hey, how's it going, Dan?"
the guy in the steam room that just goes,
Uh,
opens them, and just.
it's like and being in the military, like I've definitely gotten more comfortable just being around naked dudes,
Not me.
especially.
Nope.
And because it's one of those things where it's like you go to boot camp in the summertime, so all these high school graduates are in boot camp. So
Going
you
through puberty.
you go into boot camp and you go into the shower and you're showering literally with like 60 other naked dudes, and it's just like I gotta get clean.
And you're looking up and you're like, please just keep your eyes up. Please
It,
don't.
it, and it,
Please.
it is kind of weird, but like I said, eventually you just get used to it.
He's just
But
like, the dude's a
but
dude.
but working at the gym, dude,
That's a whole different ballpark, huh?
again, completely used to it. But at this point, it's kind of like, dude, what are you doing, man? Just put some pant, like, especially the dudes who shower.
Just wear like some shorts or something. Just not
So
even.
they'll come out of the shower,
Mm.
so you walk right into the bathroom, and you can see two of
Mm-hmm.
the showers like right off the gate or like right out of the gate, and
Mm.
they'll just stand there and they'll just be like drying off their back, just swinging it, dude. I'm like, do you have zero self-respect? Like, I understand you're in a locker room and it is considered like a private place, and this isn't like a thing that's not normal, but like, you don't think that you could like semi-dry off your top part, like the top half of your body in the shower, and then wrap the towel around your waist? Because like, despite the fact that I work there and that I shower there, I still will like I'll try to dry off in the shower as much as I possibly can, and I'll like literally do. Funny enough, it's I guess it's not necessarily a trick, but it's something like in boot camp just to kind of you know have a little bit of privacy that you don't really have. Is you'll keep your towel on, and
Right.
then you'll put your underwear on over the towel, and you'll just yank the towel out,
That's what I did in PE
and
in the swim class.
yeah, and so and that's just how it is, like you know like but and it's
Well, it's like
but to me it's like I understand that they're old, and there's like a point where it's like, you're just too old to care. It's like, what's someone gonna say?
Well, like what? A kid's gonna walk in there and be like,
That's the sketchy thing though, because our membership, as they can have their own membership, or they can come into the gym as long as they're above the age of 12. But like, I don't know how locker rooms and stuff like that work, because like I would assume that it's no different than like, you know,
a regular
like a
bathroom.
regular bathroom where it's like you're allowed to go in there and that sort of thing. But I have no idea, honestly.
Well,
But like it is something that's kind of weird, because it's like I wouldn't want to, be no. Like, even if you're like 14, 15, and you
it's
think you know everything, just dick, dude, right in the
if
face.
you're below 18, like that's
It's just too weird, and so that's why I typically make a like I don't try to make it a habit to like shower at work, um, just because it's like it's weird because there's people who have been in there who like I know, like just like as just like I know their name as the member,
so that's
and
what you have going on for you, Bandit.
and I'm like, dude, or like there's been times where it's like I've been off,
Uh,
and there's been dudes who I know that I've definitely seen them naked, and it's just like
oh,
this weird thing. Like in my head, it's just like, it's like, look, I get you're in a locker room, I get that I work here, and like it's bound to happen. I'm really super thankful though that it's only happens to me once, where an older gentleman has stopped to talk to me completely naked, and it's like, what do you like, bro? Like, do you do this everywhere you go?
no shame, dude. That's the best part about being old. But like, what if like at the gym, right? Um, one of like your old teachers was one of the people, and they're just chill
Oh my dude, I couldn't imagine.
taking shit.
Honest to God, I couldn't even imagine, bro. Like,
I mean, the your AP government teacher, or whatever.
oh no, dude.
If he was the one, just
Oh, dude, no,
he
man.
posing like Hulk Hogan, just oh yeah, and you're like, please put a towel on, sir.
I'm like, dude, you gotta get out of here, and it's just one of those weird things about like humanity. That it's like, okay, I'm gonna be private, and I want some privacy, and that's totally fine. Like,
Right.
and I get that aspect of it, but then I don't get why it's such like a stereotypical thing, and like that it does happen, that just old white dudes will just go in there and they'll just be free balling it, talking about how, they hate Trump or they hate the Democrats or whatever. And they're just in there bullshitting, or like
They're just having a good time being new,
literally just having a good time.
like
Just
Greco-Romans.
that's probably what it is they probably grew up thinking about, or like, learning about like Roman bathhouses and stuff, and just being like, dude, that's awesome.
That they was wrestling.
They was wrestling, they was manly, they was soldiers, they ate bread.
Back in my day.
Back in my day.
They weren't counting the carbs.
Yeah,
They was getting ripped and getting chicks. In the men's only bathhouse,
ooh, yeah.
What was Macho Man there too? Like,
Probably.
let me tell you about the rivers of youth.
Probably because, you're growing up. You're probably, 30, 40 around that time. Like if you were born in, in the 60s, let's just say, and so you're probably in high school, late close to the 80s, and you're learning about all this cool stuff, and then wrestling starts to get popular, and you find out that like you're like, man, this Macho Man guy, he's something else. And then you just think that he's like the pinnacle of what it is to be a man, or like Hulk Hogan. And it's
These
like,
are big burly dudes just slamming each other on the mat. On the mat.
on the mat, on the mat. I'm not gay. And and it's just so weird to like think that like that's what they think, is like they're like, oh yeah, like I was a manly man back in my day because I was on the varsity wrestling team, and I played basketball and I played football and I did this and I did that. And it's like, well, and you make like a silly joke, something about being like, so you like slamming other men in skin tight singlets
And what
onto
do
the
they want to do?
ground.
They want to slam you while they're naked in the shower.
They're sitting there and they got their spirit fingers going, dude, and they're like, come on, brother, and they're like walking around in like a dumb circle.
I'll let you know, Kurt Angle won the gold with a broken neck.
And it's like, dude, just leave me alone. I gotta go back to work.
I can't be here. But no, that when I was a kid, I got a beef to pick with Elitches about all this.
Oh no.
I was looking for the bathroom, find the little locker room area. What's the first thing I see when I walk in? Leathery man ass. So I was about ready to scream. He turned around, and there it is.
Leathery man dick.
Just staring me in the face, looking like a tapeworm.
Literally staring at you.
It's just looking at me. It's got like a little, one of those wigs they wear in Congress, the judges.
The powdered wigs.
Yeah, it got one of those, and it's got its little gavel, and it's about to sentence me for something, but I can't. I remember I turned around and I ran out. Mom, naked. My mom was, I guess, embarrassed. I'm like, what do you mean you were embarrassed? You're not the one who had to see sweaty, nasty man junk just dingling around looking like...
Yeah, dude, it's one of those weird things just about... I guess
get it's natural, but I don't want to see it.
Well, yeah, for sure. It's like, dude...
Get with the times, or wait. Like, back in my day, I don't care about back in your day. I care about today.
Back in your day, you still had to wear pants, asshole.
Back in your day, I wasn't around.
Yeah, back in your day, I wasn't here to see this shit.
But now that I am, you will respect my existence or expect my resistance. Isn't that what this is?
Something like that. And it's just, for me, I guess the real biggest thing is like, you know, like you were saying, like, I guess there is no shame in being old. And it's like, by that point, it's like, you know, who cares? But at the same time, it's kind of like, I care. Like, it's like, why wouldn't you want to, like, just have a little bit of privacy? Or try to be not goddamn weird about it. Where it's like, you're just walking around.
I think it's just unavoidable. Like, no matter who you are, when you're old, I think you're going to be weird. In one sense or the other, right? Because you're going to be a weirdo who's like, like very obviously weirdo, or that old guy who's like, well, I respect myself and I'm respectful to others.
Yeah.
But you come off as just being a creepy old dude. Like, hey man, you a widower or something? Like,
yeah, and it's
you trying to get at me? Like, no, I'm just being polite. No.
Yeah, no,
old people got a secret agenda.
Yeah, and. Just I will always stand by it. For me, dude, old people are fine. Like it's whatever. Like there's obviously it's unavoidable that there's old people, but dude, I gotta typically 9 times out of 10 I just have a bone to pick with old people specifically, especially rich old people, because it's like, dude, where did you learn to act like that? Like, so especially at the gym, there's a couple of members who, you know, their attitudes towards a lot of things, I'm like, who taught you that? Like, who said it was okay for you to act like that?
You cynical. And
it's like it's cool that you have money, but like, I'll literally destroy you. You're 88 years old.
I got kicked in the stomach by a kid.
Like, dude, I'll literally punch you in the forehead once and you'd turn to dust, bro. And it's like, don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting out here advocating for violence against old people. It's
Brandon said, I'll turn you into a leather jacket, old man.
It's like, dude, I'll turn you into a lampshade. Get the hell out of here.
Just call me Ed.
But, you know, it's just one of those things, like working in retail. Like, you just have bones to pick with, like, certain groups of people, where it's like...
Don't say bone to pick after you threaten to turn him into a lampshade.
That's very true. But you know what I mean, where it's like, you know, like when we were working at Great Wolf Lodge, obviously, you know, kids are fine, kids are kids, but their parents are super annoying. The kids, there are certain kids themselves, like right when we'd, like, even before we opened up, we had just gotten there, and I remember every time we'd walk back there and we'd see kids running around trying to play with the games before we even opened. We were like, dude, we're gonna be slammed today.
So that's why we were taking turns in the back.
And they would come up there and they go shake the gate, and it's like, what are you doing?
It's like that movie, The Birds.
You're just trying to escape, but they just keep trying to hide in the phone booth, calling for assistance.
Use the little radio. Okay, 610, whatever code it was.
And
And then they would just stare at you from a distance and just give you the Terminator 2 thumbs
the
up
dude, they
and
would just
walk
they just look at you
away.
and they'd be like shaking their head like, "Do you
And
need help?" And
you
you'd be
shake it,
like,
help, help, help. And
and they'd
they'd
be
be
like,
like,
"Oh, okay, cool." And they just and you're like,
they have it
"Where'd you
backwards.
go? Where did you go?"
Their headset goes off, and then someone else calls, go for it. And you're like, you piece of junk.
It's just, but yeah, man, it's and it's just like that. It's like it's just certain like or like certain individuals for me is what the big thing is like it doesn't matter
All the
who they
time.
are. It's just certain individuals, especially like believe it or not, like I've had a hard time at points dealing with some of the people who like go to the gym, and a lot of the times it's not like big burly like roided out looking
It's
dudes.
like a chubby old lady.
It's normally a middle-aged white woman, a little a little bit
Karen.
older of a white gentleman, like almost like borderline kind of like,
Not quite eligible for Medicare, but he's
but
almost there.
he's a couple of months away from getting like an AARP card.
He's peppered in the hair.
Yeah, um, or like just I'm trying to, or like certain teenagers, not all teenagers that have come into the gym. A lot of the teenagers that like will come in for the summer or whatever, they're pretty normal as in terms of because they're just home from school or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, or they just have nothing else better to do, and so they'll just come into the gym for a couple of hours or whatever, just
Mm-hmm.
do their thing. But I do like I've never in my life had so many people complain about how like billing for something works in my life. Like I've had people who have like come up to me and they're like, "Oh yeah, like this is how the billing works." And so like if you miss a certain cutoff date, it's like there's nothing I can do about it. Like it's all right, like because we'll have to tell people it's like, "Oh, we don't bill you here. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
another company that takes care of it." And they go, "Well, I don't care. You better stop it." And I was like, "There's nothing I can do. I can't call the billing company and be like, hey, by the way, this member doesn't want to pay for their dues, so blah blah blah." And it's just, I remember the first time it happened, I was like, why would that happen? Like, if you try, like, let's say that you have DirecTV
uh,
and you cancel and they charge you again, you're telling me that you're gonna call DirecTV and try to get. I mean, someone like DirecTV would probably give you your money back because they're a multi-billion-dollar company,
mm-hmm.
but you're telling me that because you can't read legal paperwork that you're gonna be like, hey,
So you signed this contract saying you would make this payment? Yes, but you want the payment back? Yes, even though, one more time, just want to go by it. You signed the legal document saying that you would be responsible for it? Yeah, bro. All the time in my job, they're like, hey, I need to stop at this and I need that money back. And I'm like, well, sir, we need 15-day notification prior to the month you want to do it.
mm-hmm,
Which means if you wanted to stop something before June 1st, you would need to get a hold of us before there's 31 days in May.
something like that, yeah.
Then you would get a hold of us by the 16th of May. Once the 17th hits, the earliest we could stop anything for you would be July 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And these people get so mad, like, what's that? I'm like, you signed it once, twice, three times
Uh-huh.
that you knew this. And one time some guy was like, well, you don't really expect me to read all that, do you? I was like, I don't, but you signed it. I did.
It's like it's like, do you just sign every legal document without reading it?
That's why I tell people, like, do you ever get like car insurance and like not look at what you're getting for
Yeah,
yourself?
it's like have you ever like try to like buy a house and you just like
Boom.
it's one thing, don't get me wrong, it's one thing to click the terms and services on like iTunes or
Because that's
on
just
Spotify
copyright stuff of like,
because it's just
hey,
copyright stuff or like
like
it's
the
just
legality of don't use this with blah
yeah,
blah blah. Like,
exactly,
okay,
and that's all it is.
but that's way different than so your life matters. You want medical stuff taken care of. Well, here's things you need to be aware of how it works, so we can make sure we take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's way different.
Yeah, and
But
it's just and it's baffling to me that like they always told us like when I was training
mhm.
that they'd be like, yeah, so like these are some of the options to kind of maybe like diffuse the situation, so like you end up don't getting like you end up not getting yelled at, and they were like, so you could do it that way, or you could also, they were like worst case scenario, they were like we very rarely have to do this, but what you can do is you can be like, you signed this document and it's a legal document saying that you understand the terms
Mm-hmm.
and agreements of the facility here. I can prove it to you that you signed that document, because sometimes people will be like, well, I don't remember signing anything like that. Um, because like they have to initial a couple of times. They have to initial that we can bill their card, and
Mm-hmm.
then they, and that's when they sign it down at the bottom. And there's a little section in there that says, yeah, like you're not getting refunded because you signed everything above. Like that means that you understand what you just read,
Mm-hmm.
and blah blah blah. Like there's very few cases where, according to the agreement, like that we'd refund their money. And so,
I
and
don't even come to the
that's the
gym.
big one. It's like, well, I haven't been here in 6 months, and it's like, that's not my fault.
You shouldn't have been paying for it for 6 months.
And a lot of times, those are the ones that are super funny, because they'll come in
Mm-hmm.
and they haven't been in the gym in like a year, a year and a half. I think at one point I'd seen it. This person hadn't come into the gym in like over 1,000 days, so it'd been like 3 or 4 years almost since this person had come into the gym, and they were like, "Yeah, I just want to cancel my membership," and we'd be like, "All right, yeah, man." Just a quick signature and any reason, blah blah blah. And a lot of the times those people are totally cool with canceling, because it's like they understand that they've been
They
paying.
read their turn.
It's not even half the time that I think that they read the agreement, but what it is it's like, well, I haven't been in the gym in 4 years. I've already been charged and I've already lost all this much money. And so it's like, typically, like, those are the people who don't have a problem with it, but it's the people who haven't been to the gym in like 2 weeks
Mm.
but wanted to cancel before the next bill had come out, but they missed the cutoff because whatever happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're the ones who are like, well, what do you mean I'm getting charged again? And it's like, well, according to this, like, you have to pay. And like, we actually put that part of the agreement on the cancellation form, saying like, hey, if you didn't cancel by this day, you're gonna get charged for that upcoming bill. And those are the people, like, I always thought it was so backwards how that
Mm-hmm.
happens, is that they're like, yeah, man, I haven't been here in 8 months. And they're like, well, like, just so you're aware, you're gonna see another, charge come out on your account tomorrow. And they're like, it's whatever, dude. I haven't been here. And like, there's been a couple of times where, like, oh, dude, this was a super awkward situation,
Oh
super
no.
awkward. So this
Oh
guy calls.
no.
I think it was either the day that the billing had been posted,
Uh huh.
or it was the very next day, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And he calls and he's like, hey, so like, I was a member there like 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I had canceled. He was like, I PCS'd from Fort Carson back to wherever it was that he ended up getting
Mm-hmm.
stationed in. And he's like, I thought I canceled. Something must have happened, and I guess I didn't. I realized that I didn't. So I had come back about 7 or 8 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
because I was in town anyway, and I like took care of it then. Um, and I just saw it today that I'm still being charged for your guys' gym, despite the
Mm-hmm.
fact that I canceled. And I was like, well, let me take a look just to make sure, to see if maybe something happened in the system. Maybe someone just fat fingered something. I was like, let me double check for you. And so I check it for him, and he was right, and like, he canceled. And I was like, that is kind of weird that you've been. I was like, because it says on here that you've been completely canceled out in our system. So I was like, I'm not sure what's going on. I was like, I'm wondering if maybe there's something that happened with our billing company, and maybe there was like a glitch in the system.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someone had entered the wrong card information, because that's happened before,
Yeah.
where someone had entered the wrong card number, and they were being charged on a card that they weren't supposed to be being charged or whatever. But this guy was like, he's like, I was like, so let me figure this out for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's someone that I got to call really quick to help figure this out. And we'll find out what's going on. So we end up looking up his, like, through something. I forget exactly what we had done, but you can see which accounts that card is under,
Mm-hmm.
or which card the account is under.
Oh no.
And so it turns out there was this other girl, or there's this girl that he had been paying for, and she hadn't been a member since like damn near the gym opening, and that was like back in like 2000. I think she hadn't been into the gym in since like 2010. So it had been a long time, like a long time, dude. It was the wildest thing. And but the guy was like, he was starting to get very upset, and I was like, no, 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 like, I understand. I'm gonna figure this out for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I figure out that he's being charged for this other. other account, and because he's like, well, if I'm being charged for this month, I'm wondering how many months I've still been charged, despite the fact that I canceled. And I was like, well, I understand your frustration, but blah blah, So I ended up calling him back, and I was like, hey man. So I figured out why you're still being charged. I was like, when you were here originally, when you first signed up, was there somebody? I was like, there was this other account. Her name was so and
Mm-hmm.
so, and his voice changed instantly, and he's like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. She's my ex fiance, and obviously we're not together anymore, and but that makes a lot of sense now. And I said, I'm really sorry, man. Like I didn't mean to like bring up anything. And he goes, no, man. He's like, you did your job, and I couldn't have asked for anything else. And but I worked it out. So I was like, so we're gonna refund you this last charge and cancel her account out for you, and then you shouldn't see any more billing from us anymore. And he was like, thanks, man. And I was like, you have a good day. And I remember I hung the phone up, and I was like, oh no,
You just
dude! Like
ruined that life.
I straight up just probably brought up like years worth of like repressed memories.
You're gonna read about another suicide at the VA. Way to go, B.
Dude, it was just. But I remember feeling so bad about that. Like I walked out of the office, and I was like, oh no, dude. I was like, I definitely ruined that guy's day.
You ruined a tough. Like he's like, yeah, I'm in the army, and you're like, yeah, I'm in the Marines, and he's like, yeah, what's up? And you said, yeah, dude, your ex fiance's, and he went.
He said, oh man. He's like, why you like this, bruv?
I can't see the shadow. I don't know how the song.
But yeah, man, and that's probably the most awkward encounter as far as billing has ever gone. Like in anything that I've ever had to deal with, like somebody's money.
Well, this was probably the one that I had to deal with at my job currently. This guy's trying to withdraw and everything, and I'm going over all this stuff with him. And like, yeah, obviously there's something wrong with him. So I'm like, okay, we need to do X, Y, Z. Now, what happens is his wife is pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but there's an issue with the bills and everything. And I'm like, okay, well, we can of course get this going, see what's going on. He's like, yeah, but well, I understand she's pregnant and you guys are taking care of it. You paid this much already. I just need to drop it all though. I'm like, okay, are you sure? Because we're helping with the medical. It's a baby. This is important.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, she just, we need to get this going, figure everything out. I'm like, well, yeah, now, just for my system, so we can, of course, if we can do better in the future, we can. You don't mind me asking the reason. He said,
Oh no.
that she had cheated on him.
Oh no, and it wasn't his?
It wasn't
Oh
his.
no. Oh no, dude. Oh my god.
So he was like, we need to stop.
Wow.
Need to stop. And I was like, okay then.
Sure.
And I was so sad because I was like, I didn't mean to like try and get you to tell me that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just trying to make sure I do everything for my job's sake, like correctly.
Yeah.
And then this whole dude, he's just like, he went from being like, yeah, I need to, just to. Like, no,
dude,
no.
it's crazy like hearing like that change in voice where it's like I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but like
You gotta be like, suck it up, buttercup, she's gone.
and it was so weird for me because I was like, dude, if he gets billed again next month, I was like, bro, he's gonna be mad.
I told you she's my ex-fiance. And you keep charging.
I'm already in enough pain, and this is what you do to me.
She drained my bank account when we were together, and now we're apart.
But yeah, because like he was like, I remember I was starting to get flustered because he wasn't like listening to me because I was trying to figure out what was happening, and he's like, look, man, he's like, if this keeps happening, like I'm gonna have to take legal action. Like he's like, I'll literally sue you. And I was like, dude, I'm trying to help you. I was like, I'm on your side, buddy. I was like, I'm not trying to do anything. I was like, I'm not trying to hurt you. And then I, end up hurting him anyway. being
I'm
like,
on
"Oh,
yours.
you wanna yell at me? Check this out, buddy."
Boom.
What you remember?
Who's this?
Do you remember your ex fiance? Because I do. And he's like, "What do you know about her?"
She comes in the gym. You're paying for her membership, chump. And then what happens? He rolls up to the gym. He gets out the car. He walks out. It's the kid you convinced to drop the bike, and he just kicks you in
Dude,
the
oh
stomach.
man. And then I wake up in the hospital with someone knocking on my door, and it's some long lost kid. And they're like, hey, are you so and so? And I'm like, yeah, why? And just whap right in the face
While you're naked.
while I'm naked. Well, I'd say with that, come full circle every time. That's the goal of this podcast. We like to just tell stories that make sense in the full grand scheme of things. Uh, so with that, I don't really have any I guess closing statements or anything
Happy birthday.
other than happy birthday to Brendan,
Hello.
obviously the better half of the podcast.
I'm like left twitch.
So everybody down in the comments and stuff like that, wish him a happy birthday, and we'll probably definitely hear about his birthday adventures, mostly his tattoo on the next episode. So on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to
Click the bell.
click the bell and
Comment.
like and comment the video. Definitely helps us out. Share it with anybody that you know, and we'll get this rolling. Links to all social media will be in the description below. Put a link to the Spotify down there as well, just for everyone. And
Spotify.
and with that, enjoy your guys' weekend. Shabooby or shapoopy?
Which one do they say? Shapoopy.
Shapoopy. Thanks for listening, guys.